Hey, what's up guys, I'm Andy and today we're gonna be talking about the AirPods Max. I thought it would be kind of fun to review these headphones as I had them for quite some time now and use them on a daily basis and always had them in my backpack when traveling. Some of you may wonder where these stand in 2024 and how they compare with the current available Bluetooth headphones on the market from other brands like Sony or Bose. Apple kept the same price on these at $499 in the UK and $549 in the US, which gives them a much better price in 2024. I think now they stand along other headphones priced the same, but these still being premium. Brands like Bang & Olufsen or Bowers & Wilkins came up with new models recently that overtook the AirPods in price by quite a lot. Although I haven't tried any of those yet and not sure how they sound like, but from design perspective I still think AirPods look the best. And from what people say about these online, nothing really beats the technology of AirPods yet when it comes to noise cancelling, head tracking and transparency modes. I think it's quite impressive. These still take the first place in 2024 when it comes to that. Okay, so the smart case. Yes, I know it's not the best designed case, but it kind of makes sense for these headphones. It doesn't make much of a difference at all whether you have it on or not regarding the size. It won't take much space in your luggage. It will protect your AirPods from getting scratched and getting dust. The mesh fabric in ear cushions has its reasons too. While many think this affects the sound, and I thought that as well, it actually doesn't at all, and I was surprised how well this can block the sound from outside when using noise cancellation. I've actually noticed that my ears actually never touch the inside fabric. I know this should be already obvious for an over-ear headphone, but I've used plenty of over-ear headphones and sometimes your ears still touch some of the material inside the cups. You mostly don't get that with the AirPods, which is pretty cool. Another benefit of these fabric cushions compared to leather ones, for example, is that your ears won't get warm. They kind of breathe and you don't get that closed back feeling which other headphones do. I could wear these for hours or even an entire day and my ears never get hot. And I have to say, they've lasted incredibly well over time. I've traveled with these headphones for quite a lot. I've used them for almost 3 years and they still don't have any wear marks at all. These are probably the most durable and comfortable headphones I've ever tried. You do feel their weight a little bit, but for me that wasn't an issue. I'm quite used to studio headphones. These Bear Dynamic ones, for example, that I use for mixing are almost twice as heavy and I can wear them for hours, but I can't really say they're comfortable. So yeah, I guess if you're not someone who's used to wear headphones often, you might find the AirPods Max a tiny bit on the heavy side, but it's definitely something that will become normal on the long run. I won't really compare these side by side with any of my hi-fi headphones, but we'll mostly talk about how I'm using them for music and what are the differences I noticed coming from hi-fi headphones in the majority of my listening time. And you're all probably wondering how these stand in comparison with professional headphones, considering these are not cheap. And just to be more specific, no, I'm not expecting these to sound anywhere near a hi-fi pair, first of all because they're Bluetooth and mostly because AirPods Max are a lot more than just a pair of headphones. They offer this amazing industrial design with the top of its class materials which we see from all Apple products, so it's obvious this will feel like a luxurious item. On top of that, they're your daily pair of headphones and not your studio hi-fi vinyl enthusiasts headphones. These are designed for traveling, calls, watching TV, browsing the internet and listening to music, but also the new Dolby Atmos system and head tracking feature are some things to point out. They're not waterproof though, so keep that in mind when you're outside. Straight out of the box, to set these up, all you need to do is just bring them close to your iOS device and they'll pop up on your screen or in your Bluetooth settings. Same like the AirPods Pro, these are super simple to set up. Love that. The first thing I noticed was the volume was set in a back to front way, which for me was a bit confusing, so I just reversed that to feel more natural. And you can easily do it in settings. And then you get all these other settings for noise cancellation, transparency and so on. I'm not gonna go through all these now as there's plenty of setup guides tutorials online, but there's some things I want to talk about. So Apple didn't really advertise this in detail and I'm guessing many music lovers are either confused or not sure how this Apple Music lossless option is working with the AirPods Max. Apple has quite recently developed its own lossless audio compression technology called Apple Lossless Audio Codec or ALAC, in addition to AAC, which is their older codec. The entire Apple Music catalog has now also been re-encoded using ALAC in resolutions ranging from 16-bit 44.1 kHz, which is the CD quality, up to high-resolution tracks of 24-bit 192 kHz. ALAC supports up to 8 channels of audio at 16, 20, 24 and 32-bit depth, with a maximum sample rate of 384 kHz. Which we'll probably never need. Therefore, it's virtually impossible to get an experience of true lossless audio at 1411 kilobits per second, or even high-res audio via Bluetooth, because this is sent to your headphones using Apple's AAC codec and not even LDAC or other high bitrate codecs. LDAC is the highest Bluetooth codec at the moment, which supports resolutions up to 32-bit at 96 kHz, but only about 2/3 of the bitrate of CD quality at best, which is 990 kilobits per second. So you still lose data in the process, but it's pretty close, so probably the majority of us won't notice that 1/3 difference in sound. AAC, on the other hand, is a 16-bit Bluetooth audio codec with a maximum sample rate of 44.1 kHz, exactly the same as CD, which is great, but only 250 kilobits per second bitrate compared with CD, which has a bitrate of 1411 kilobits per second. So it's pretty obvious how much information is thrown away. Sadly, that's all you get while listening on Bluetooth from an Apple device at the moment. Hopefully with the second generation of AirPods Max we might see an updated audio codec or maybe a Wi-Fi connectivity option, same as they recently made it possible with the AirPods Pro 2 and Apple Vision Pro. But until then, MP3 quality is basically all you get in your Bluetooth headphones, no matter what streaming service you're using. Fun fact, even though AirPods Max can be used with a wired connection, you can only use them with Apple's one and only $35 jack to lightning connector. No other third-party cables or connectors will work. And part 2 of this fun fact is that even wired, these headphones are not receiving full lossless analog signal. Apple states that the audio signal is converted back to digital once it reaches the AirPods, making this process not entirely lossless, and also not entirely latency free either. However, they're not specifying how much information is lost there. Oh, and yeah, you need another adapter if your audio interface doesn't have a 3.5 jack output, which most of them don't. The only time this 3.5 jack to lightning connector made sense for me was if I'm traveling and want to edit my videos on my Mac and need to avoid that Bluetooth latency. Another weird thing here is that you'll still need to have battery to be able to use these headphones wired. Then they act exactly the same as on Bluetooth. The head sensor stays on too, so when you're taking them off they'll stop working. Noise cancelling and transparency work the same, which is good. Everything stays the same apart from the fact that your signal is now wired. I've tried them wired with Apple Music, listening to some high-res albums, and indeed there is a difference compared with Bluetooth. Especially in the soundstage, snare drums are a bit sharper and the whole experience feels better. Doing an A/B testing of this is not night and day different, and these definitely sound great over Bluetooth too, which the majority of users will be happy with. Again, these are not audiophile oriented, but you can tell while you have them wired that you get a higher resolution in sound for sure. All that said, it's pretty clear that Apple designed these headphones purely for wireless connectivity and for the things we mentioned earlier. You should be looking for an alternative if wired headphones is something you need. I've seen others reviewing these saying that you shouldn't be comparing them with any audiophile headphones as those are mainly over $1,000, and that's just not true. There's plenty of options for wired headphones, hi-fi headphones from companies like Grado, Hi-Fi Man, Sennheiser, Bear Dynamic. They're all audiophile headphones and they're all cheaper than AirPods Max. So for someone like me who spends over $500 on a pair of Bluetooth headphones, of course I will compare them with my hi-fi gear, not having an expectation to sound better or even close, but like I said, it's just pure curiosity, I guess. So how do these actually sound like? In my own words, I think these sound pretty clean and bright. It's the only word that comes to my mind when I'm thinking of AirPods Max. They sound crystal clear, which personally I'm not a fan of, and I think Apple could have done a bit better here with the sound. Considering how much research has been put into these, they surely could have compared these with more high-end headphones and, I don't know, maybe try achieving a bit more high-res or using some different DSP or EQ for the drivers. Bass response is pretty good if you like low-end, like they really have a good low-end deep bass, and because of this you kind of lose on the rest. There's slightly less punch on the mid bass and they have a pretty low mid-range levels. Vocals sound a bit pushed back with a lack of body. The whole sound stage is pretty centered as well. It doesn't have much of air or breathing space in my opinion. I always feel like I'm in a small closed room while listening on these. And for this price I'm looking for this to be a little bit better. Best way of listening to music on this is by turning off noise cancelling and transparency. Those features will add more artifacts and noise, so having them off will let the drivers just play the music signal and nothing else. Coming back to other features these headphones do, and like I said before, they're definitely more than a pair of headphones. we have Dolby Atmos with Apple Music and Apple TV. Just to sort of getting any kind of confusion out of the way, Dolby Atmos and spatial audio are not the same thing. Dolby Atmos is a standard that's been around for a while, mostly known for being used at home in the home theater world. It consists of what would typically be a 5.1 or 7.1 surround system, but with the addition of some extra speakers that point up towards the ceiling and bounce back towards you, which will give you the feeling of directional audio that comes from any angle, more like you're inside a sphere rather than having a circle of sound around you. Apple Spatial Audio is basically something like an add-on they've made that uses something like a position awareness hardware and gyroscopes to track the position of where your head is. Imagine you move your head while you're wearing the headphones, but the sound stays still in space or in this sort of sphere soundstage. So let's say you're watching a movie, if a car passes by to your right and then you turn your head that way, then it sounds like it's coming right at your face. It can be pretty cool in visual meaning, some say, but for music, I don't really see the point of it for now. At least not with any of the songs I know that have been originally recorded in stereo. And even if new music will be recorded in spatial audio, I'm just thinking, do I really need to turn my head listening to a certain instrument? I'm not sure. The spatial audio is definitely a great feature, but the head tracking I think is a bit overkill. The noise cancelling is almost complete, like turning this on while you're in a busy environment, it almost gets rid of everything. And yes, I know many other headphones do this too, but still not as good as the AirPods Max. And the same applies for transparency mode. This is by far the most natural feeling of transparency. I've tried all the latest and other previous models of headphones, from Sony, Bose and many other brands, and when you switch transparency on those, some of them even have some latency issues. It just doesn't feel like you're hearing the real world. While with the AirPods Max, the transparency feels 95% like almost you're not wearing any headphones. It's a little bit brighter than real life, but the rest is there. So 2 accessories you might want to try. I've discovered it recently actually, as I've heard many of people complaining about how the charging on these are still on Lightning and not USB-C. And it's true, it's 2024 and I think we should have USB-C across all our devices. If you're mostly wearing them at your desk like I do, this charger is a game changer. Just simply add the pin connector that comes with it, which you can keep on at all times, and then it just snaps in with a magnet, using it as a stand and charger in the same time. I've never seen anyone reviewing this, so I thought it's a great option to have, plus it's really cheap. There's a link in the description if you like to check it out. The second must-have accessory is for the headband, where I've actually noticed the mesh loses its strength over time, becoming loose. This will cause more pressure on the sides, and if you don't have long or thick hair, it will become very uncomfortable wearing it for a long time. I was looking how to fix this, and I've discovered this headband cushion which is actually working perfectly. It fits very well and completely gets rid of all that weight you would feel on your head. Adding this on makes the whole weight more distributed on top of your head, having a more comfortable feel overall. There's a link in the description as well if you like to check it out. So that's mainly it. I think overall these headphones are still a great buy in 2024 and there's no others like them in the realm of Bluetooth headphones. Still go give them a try if you have an Apple retail nearby, but I'm sure you won't be disappointed. Thanks for watching and let me know in the comments below if you had AirPods or what do you think of them so far. And if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and give it a like, it really helps my channel to grow. I'll see you on the next one.